And we're live. Greetings, friends. Happy Sunday. Miko Herptile, channel mod, is in the chat. It says, hello, Super Antonio, Sadie, mods, and everyone. Greetings, Miko. Happy Sunday to you. This stream was originally scheduled for last night, for Saturday. This is the Saturday movie stream we're doing on Sunday. David is here. Greetings, David. Missed you, friend. Thanks for being here early. David says hello to Miko and has an alligator emoticon for you. And he has a doggy emoticon for David, for Sadie. What's going on in Springfield, David? It's really irritating me. Also, give my regards to your lovely wife, Chrissy V, who is probably not far behind. At any rate, I wanted to do this stream last night. However, the spirit was willing, but the flesh was weak, and I just didn't have it in me. Hold on. Callum's here. Greetings, Callum. Callum says, hey guys, first time back in a while. Just been taking time to myself recently. It's good to see everyone, though. Happy to be back. I'm glad you're here, Callum. We're just going to hang out a little bit and talk about James Earl Jones for ODOG. James Earl Jones, as you know, probably know, was the voice of Darth Vader. Very sonorous voice. Hop, hop. Stay up here. Up. Hop. I've got carrots for her tonight. But she keeps dropping them on the floor. Hold on. Let's chop these into more manageable pieces for her. There. There, Wolf. And let's see what else. How's everyone? How's your weekend? How's your Sunday? Hope you're well. David, I hope you're feeling better. Miss you, friend. Callum says, good to see you, Super Antonio. Missed you and the community a lot. The community missed you as well, Callum. I'm glad you're back. Not a moment too soon. I've been watching an American TV show called Hell on Wheels, Callum. And it's about the production of the American Railroad, the Transcontinental Railroad at the end of the Civil War, so like 1866, 1870. But there are two brothers from your country, two of your countrymen, the McGinnis brothers, who make their fortune following along with the train, with the shanty town that develops and follows the train. Hop, hop. They start with a magic lantern show, basically a slideshow of their homeland, your homeland. So they show slides, and then one of them like sings Irish songs. But they eventually expand into bath ladies and other more profitable enterprises. Callum says, got diagnosed a week ago and found out I have depression and anxiety, but the anxiety is only to do with working a job. Besides that, I'm feeling okay. I just need to get back to earning money. And Callum says, hey to Miko. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Callum. And I don't know what to do about depression. I wish I did. I wish it was as easy as putting your head down and getting through it, but I know it isn't. So I have sympathy for you. There's easier ways. Well, not easier ways, but you know, it's like you can resell stuff on eBay. You can learn how to day trade. There's ways to make money. The internet has opened up opportunities for you to make money online in non-traditional ways that you should look into. If you can find like a pallet of something from AliExpress and buy that and resell that. And there's also drop shipping. Be careful, there's a lot of scams out there, but drop shipping is also a way to make money online. Callum says, I might have to look into that, Super Antonio. Always good hearing about fellow Irishmen while you help build this country, Callum. And Miko says, sorry to hear that, Callum. I hope you get better soon. And Callum says, yeah, depression is hard, but we'll all get through our struggles in life one way or another. Yeah, I mean, everything is impermanent. So what that means is your depression is also impermanent. O-Dog is here. Greetings, O-Dog. I'm glad you're here, friend, as tonight is all about James Earl Jones. He had a stutter. Callum says, yeah, I'd like to do a job online. It'd be fun. Yeah, reselling on eBay, I'm sure, like going to your secondhand shops or, like things you specialize in, things like video games or books or music or something, something that you're interested in, that you have knowledge about, that you are able to make money off by selling your knowledge. What I mean by that is like, if you may be able to find a video game that is popular and know the prices for it, and then find it, in a charity shop for, £1, and you can turn it around and sell it for £10. Or, that's just an example. But what I'm telling you is you're using your knowledge. What you did in that situation, that scenario, is you used your knowledge of video games to make a profit. So there's something you know about that you will be able to make money off. So think about that. O-Dog has a bunch of herptile emoticons for Miko and says hello to Davey and sup Super Antonio. Sup O-Dog. Greetings, friend. Callum says, been playing a lot of Red Dead Online, been really enjoying it. Did a treasure map glitch today. Got a good bit of money. And it's gold. It's better than doing legendary bounties. Yeah, would that it were that easy in real life. With that being said, let's talk a little bit about James Earl Jones. And I will also read a really nice obituary by the BBC. Here he is young. So James Earl Jones, January 17th, 1931 to September 9th, 2024, was an American actor, a pioneer for black actors in the entertainment industry. He is known for his extensive and acclaimed roles on stage and screen. He is one of the few performers to achieve the EGOT, I did not know this, Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony. I wonder what he got the Emmy for. He was inducted into the American Theater Hall of Fame in 1985 and was honored with the National Medal of Arts in 1992, the Kennedy Center Honor in 2002, the Screen Actors Guild Life Achievement Award in 2009, and an Academy Honorary Award in 2011. So he got an honorary Oscar. Born in Acapulco, Mississippi, he had a stutter since childhood. Jones said that poetry and acting helped him overcome the challenges of his disability. A pre-med major in college, so he was smart, he served as an officer in the U.S. Army during the Korean War before pursuing a career in acting. His deep voice was praised as a stirring basso profundo that has lent gravel and gravitas to his projects. Jones made his Broadway debut in the play Sunrise at Campo Bello in 1957. He then gained prominence for acting in numerous productions with Shakespeare in the Park, including Othello, Hamlet, Coriolanus, and King Lear. Wow, he played Lear. Jones worked steadily in theater, winning the Tony Award for Best Actor in a Play for his role as a boxer in The Great White Hope, 1968, which he reprised in the 1970 film adaptation, earning him an Academy Award and Golden Globe nominations. Jones won his second Tony for Best Actor in a Play for his role as a working-class father in August Wilson's Fences in 1987. He was a Tony Award nominee for his roles as the husband in Ernest Thompson's On Golden Pond, about an aging couple, and as a former president in the Gore Vidal play The Best Man. His other Broadway performances included Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, Driving Miss Daisy, You Can't Take It With You, The Gin Game, and The Gin Game. He received a special Tony Award for Lifetime Achievement in 2017. Jones made his film debut in Stanley Kubrick's Dr. Strangelove. In 1964, he received a Golden Globe Award nomination for Claudine. Odog says he has a voice very similar, maybe a little heavier. I can see that, Odog, from seeing your photos. I have seen photos of Odog. He's quite handsome. Don't tell Abigail. He received a Golden Globe Award nomination for Claudine in 1974. He gained international fame for his voice role as Darth Vader in the Star Wars franchise, beginning with the original 1977 film. Jones's other notable films include The Man from 1972, Conan the Barbarian 1982, Matwan 1987, Coming to America 1988, Field of Dreams 89, The Hunt for Red October 1990, Sneakers 1992, The Sandlot 93, The Lion King 94, and Cry the Beloved Country from 1995. On television, Jones received 8 Primetime Emmy Award nominations, winning twice for his roles in the thriller film Heat Wave and the crime series Gabriel's Fire from 1991. He also acted in Roots, 1977, Jesus of Nazareth, Picket Fences, Homicide, Life on the Street, and Everwood. Early life and education. James Earl Jones was born in Arcabutla, Mississippi, to Ruth, a teacher and maid, and Robert Earl Jones, a boxer, butler, and chauffeur. His father left the family shortly after James Earl's birth and later became a stage and screen actor in New York and Hollywood. Jones and his father did not get to know each other until the 50s, when they reconciled. He said in interviews that his parents were both of mixed African American, Irish, and Native American ancestry. From the age of 5, Jones was raised by his maternal grandparents, John Henry and Maggie Connolly, on their farm in Dublin, Michigan. They had moved from Mississippi in the Great Migration. Jones, let's look that up. The Great Migration, sometimes known as the Great Northward Migration or the Black Migration, was the first of 6 million African Americans was the movement of 6 million African Americans out of the rural southern United States to the urban Northeast, Midwest, and West between 1910 and 1970. Jones found that the transition to living with his grandparents in Michigan traumatic and developed a stutter so severe he refused to speak. He said, "I was a stutterer. I couldn't talk. So the first year of school was my first mute year, and those mute years continued until I got to high school." He credited his English teacher, Donald Crouch, who had discovered he had a gift for writing poetry, with helping him end his silence. Crouch urged him to challenge his reluctance to speak through reading poetry aloud to the class. In 1949, Jones graduated from Dixon Rural Agricultural School, now Brethren High School, in Brethren, Michigan, where he served as vice president of his class. He attended the University of Michigan, where he was initially a pre-med major. He joined the Reserve Officers Training Corps and excelled. He felt comfortable within the structure of the military environment and enjoyed the camaraderie of his fellow cadets in the Pershing Rifles drill team and Scabbard and Blade Honor Society. After his junior year, he focused on drama with the thought of doing something he enjoyed before he assumed he would have to go off and fight in the Korean War. Jones graduated from the university in 1955 with a Bachelor of Arts, majoring in drama. And he served in the Korean War. With the Korean War intensifying, Jones expected to be deployed as soon as he received his commission as second lieutenant. While he waited for his orders, he worked on the stage crew and acted at the Ramsdale Theater in Manistee, Michigan. Jones was commissioned in mid-1953 after the Korean War's end and reported to Fort Benning, now Fort Moore, to attend the infantry officer's basic course. He attended Ranger School. He was a Ranger and received his Ranger tab. Jones was assigned to headquarters in Headquarters Company, 38th Regimental Combat Team. He was initially to report to Fort Leonard Wood, but his unit was instead sent to establish a cold weather training command center at the former Camp Hale near Leadville, Colorado. His battalion became a training unit in the rugged terrain of the Rocky Mountains. Jones was promoted to first lieutenant prior to his discharge. Training for a fight with the Soviets. Cold weather training. This is the start of the Cold War. Jones moved to New York, where he studied at the American Theater Wing and worked as a janitor to support himself. His early roles and Shakespeare in the Park from 1953 to 1972. Jones began his acting career at the Ramsdale Theater in Manistee, Michigan. In 1953, he was a stage carpenter, and between 1955 and 57, he acted and was a stage manager. In his first acting season at the Ramsdale, he portrayed Othello. His early career included an appearance in the ABC radio anthology series Theater 5. In 1957, he made his Broadway debut. Cruz is here. Greetings, Cruz. Currently eating an apple and watching the stream. Sadie eats apples every day. Chopped apples for breakfast. He made his Broadway debut as the understory to Lloyd Richards in the short-lived play The Egghead by Molly Kazan. The play ran only 21 performances, but 3 months later, in January 1958, Jones created the featured role of Edward the Butler in Dore Schari's Sunrise at Campobello at the Court Theater. The Court Theater is on Broadway. So, he was on Broadway. During the early to mid-1960s, Jones acted in various works of William Shakespeare, becoming one of the best-known Shakespearean actors of the time. He tackled roles such as Othello in King Lear, Oberon in A Midsummer Night's Dream, Abhorsen in Measure for Measure, and Claudius in Hamlet, all at Shakespeare in the Park. In 1961, Jones appeared in an off-Broadway production of The Blacks by Jean Genet, alongside 8 subsequently prominent black actors, including Roscoe Lee Brown, Cicely Tyson, Louis Gossett, and others. The New York Public Library has a collection of photographs of this production, including one of Tyson and Jones. During a production of The Merchant of Venice at Shakespeare in the Park, Stanley Kubrick saw George C. Scott play Shylock and Jones play the Prince of Morocco. Kubrick was there initially to cast Scott in Dr. Strangelove, but then considered Jones, saying, and I apologize, O-Dog, saying, I'll take the black one too. Well, he's not wrong. Jones portrayed young Lieutenant Lothar Zog, the B-52 bombardier in the film, and this would be his feature film debut. And what an amazing feature film to debut in. Jones would later play a surgeon and Haitian rebel leader in The Comedians alongside Richard Burton, Elizabeth Taylor, and Alec Guinness, all coincidentally Shakespearean actors. In December 1967, Jones starred along Jane Alexander in Howard Sackler's play The Great White Hope at the Arena Stage in Washington, D.C. Jones took the role of a talented but troubled boxer, Jack Jefferson, who is based on the real champion Jack Johnson. The play was a huge success when it moved to Broadway in 1968. and was well received, winning the Pulitzer Prize for Drama. Jones himself won the 1969 Tony Award for Best Actor and the Drama Desk Award. In 1969, Jones participated in making test films for the children's education series Sesame Street. These shorts, combined with animated segments, were shown to groups of children to gauge the effectiveness of the then groundbreaking Sesame Street format. As cited by production notes in the included DVD release, the short had the greatest impact with test audiences. The short that had the greatest impact with test audiences was one showing the bald-headed Jones slowly counting to 10. This and other segments featuring Jones were eventually aired as part of the Sesame Street series itself when it debuted in 1969, and Jones is often cited as the first celebrity guest on that series, although a segment with Carol Burnett was the first to be actually broadcast. He also appeared on the soap opera Guiding Light. In 1970, Jones reunited with Jane Alexander in the film adaptation of The Great White Hope. This would be Jones's first leading film role. Jones portrayed boxer Jack Johnson, a role he had previously originated on stage. His performance was acclaimed by critics and earned him an Academy Award nomination for Best Actor. He was the second African-American male performer after Sidney Poitier to be nominated for this award. Variety described his performance, declaring Jones's recreation of his stage role as an eye-riveting experience. The towering rages and unrestrained joys of which his character was capable are portrayed as larger than life. In The Man, Jones starred as a senator who unexpectedly becomes the first African-American president of the United States. This was in 1972. 1973 to 83, Star Wars and Rise to Prominence. In 1973, Jones played Hickey on Broadway and the Circle in the Square theaters in a revival of Eugene O'Neill's The Iceman Cometh, and starred in the title role of William Shakespeare's King Lear opposite Paul Sorvino, Mira Sorvino's dad, René Auberjonois, who you may know as Odo from Deep Space Nine, and Raul Julia. Raul Julia, I don't know anything you would know him from, but I always he played Gomez, the original Gomez in the Addams Family, the first Addams Family movie. He always reminded me of my father. They looked a lot alike. At the New York City Shakespeare Festival in Central Park, which was recorded and broadcast in the PBS Great Performance series the following year. Donut Lord is here. Greetings, Donut Lord. We're talking about James Earl Jones tonight. In 1974, Jones played Lenny on Broadway in the 1974 Brooks Atkinson theater production of the adaptation of John Steinbeck's novella of Mice and Men, with Kevin Conway as George and Pamela Blair as Curly's wife. In 1974, Jones co-starred with Diane Carroll in the film Claudine, the story of a woman who raises her 6 children alone after 2 failed and 2 almost marriages. The film is a romantic comedy and drama focusing on systemic racial disparities Black families face. It was one of the first major films to tackle themes such as welfare, economic inequality, and the typical marriage of men and women in the African American community in the 1970s. Jones and Carroll received widespread critical acclaim and Golden Globe nominations for their performances. Carroll was also nominated for an Academy Award Best Actress. In 1977, Jones made his debut in his iconic voiceover role as Darth Vader in George Lucas's space opera blockbuster film Star Wars: A New Hope, which he would reprise for the sequels The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. Darth Vader was portrayed in costume by David Prowse in the film trilogy, with Jones dubbing Vader's dialogue in post-production because Prowse's strong West Country accent was deemed unsuitable for the role by director George Lucas. At his own request, Jones was uncredited for the release of the first two Star Wars films, though he would be credited for the third film and eventually also for the film's 1987 special edition re-release, as he explained in a 2008 interview. When Linda Blair did the girl in The Exorcist, they hired Mercedes McCambridge to do the voice of the devil coming out of her, and there was controversy as to whether Mercedes should get credit. I was one who thought, no, she was just special effects. So when it came to Darth Vader, I said, no, I'm just special effects. But it became so identified that by the third one, I thought, okay, I'll let them put my name on it. In 1977, Jones also received a Grammy Award for Best Spoken Word Album. That's where he gets his Emmy, for Great American Documents. In 1979, Jones appeared on the short-lived CBS police drama Paris. Jones also starred that year in the critically acclaimed TV miniseries sequel Roots, The Next Generations, as the older version of author Alex Haley. And then 1985 to 1999, established career. In 1987, Jones starred in August Wilson's play Fences as Troy Maxon, a middle-aged working-class father who struggles to provide for his family. The play, set in the 1950s, is part of Wilson's 10-part Pittsburgh cycle. Excuse me a minute. The play explores the evolving African American experience and examines race relations, among other themes. Jones won widespread critical acclaim, earning himself his second Tony Award for Best Actor in a Play. Besides the Star Wars sequels, Jones was featured in several other box office hits of the 80s. The action fantasy film Conan the Barbarian, the Eddie Murphy comedy Coming to America, the sports drama Field of Dreams, which earned an Academy Award for Best Picture nomination. He also starred in the independent film Matewan, which dramatized the events of the Battle of Matewan, a coal miners' strike in 1920, and he received an Independent Spirit Award nomination for that performance. In 1985, Jones lent his voice to the Pharaoh in the first episode of Hanna-Barbera's The Greatest Adventure, Stories from the Bible. From 1989 to 92, Jones served as the host of the children's TV series Long Ago and Far Away. Jones appeared in several more successful films during the early to mid-1990s, including The Hunt for Red October, 1990, Patriot Games, 92, The Sandlot, 93, Clear and Present Danger, 94, and Cry the Beloved Country, 1985. He also lent his distinctive voice to the role of Mufasa in the 1994 Disney animated film The Lion King. In 1992, Jones was presented with the National Medal of Arts by President George H.W. Bush. Jones had the distinction of winning 2 Primetime Emmys the same year, as Best Actor for his role in Gabriel's Fire and as Best Supporting Actor for his work in Heat Wave. Jones, I forgot about that. Jones also performed voice work for The Simpsons in 1990. Jones played lead characters in television on 3 series, Gabriel's Fire and a revamped version called Pros and Cons, that aired in ABC between 1990 and 1992. In both formats of that show, Jones played a former policeman wrongly convicted of murder who, upon his release from prison, becomes a private eye. We have seen that show so many times. It's a popular theme. In 1995, Jones starred in Under One Roof as Neb Langston, a widowed African-American police officer sharing his home in Seattle with his daughter, his married son and children, and Neb's newly adopted son. The show was a mid-season replacement and lasted only 6 weeks, but earned him another Emmy nomination. Let's see, more TV shows. On July 13th, 1993, accompanied by the Morgan State University Choir, Jones spoke the U.S. national anthem, "Oh, say, can you see, by the dawn's early light, what so proud." I can't do it. I apologize, O-Dog. Oh, say. No, I can't do it. Before the 1983 Major League Baseball All-Star Game in Baltimore in 1996, he recited the classic baseball poem Casey at the Bat with the Cincinnati Pops Orchestra. And on June 1st, 2007, he did the same before a Philadelphia Phillies home game. Mama One is here. Greetings, Mama One. Everybody say hello to Mama One. Sadie's here. She's under the desk. Hop, hop. Come up here, and I've been feeding her carrots in your honor. 2000 to 2009 career honors and other roles. Jones guest starred in many television shows over the years, including NBC's Law and Order, Frasier, Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman, House. These are all shows I watched that I don't remember him being on. The Big Bang Theory and 2.5 Men. In 2002, Jones received Kennedy Center honors. Also at the ceremony were fellow honorees Paul Simon, Elizabeth Taylor, and Chita Rivera. President George W. Bush joked, "People said that the voice of the president is the most easily recognized voice in America. Well, I'm not going to make that claim." In the presence of James Earl Jones. Those there to honor Jones included Sidney Poitier, Kelsey Grammer, Charles S. Dutton, and Courtney B. Vance. He also voiced the CNN tagline, "This is CNN." I forgot about that. He lent his voice to the opening of NBC's coverage for the 2000 and 2004 Summer Olympics. Jones narrated all 27 books of the New Testament in the audiobook James Earl Jones Reads the New Testament. Although uncredited, Jones' voice is heard as Darth Vader at the conclusion of Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. When specifically asked whether he had supplied the voice, possibly from a previous recording, Jones told Newsday, "You'd have to ask Lucas about that. I don't know." In 2005, Jones and Leslie Uggams headed the cast in an African-American Broadway revival version of On Golden Pond. In 2008, he starred on Broadway as Big Daddy in a limited-run all-African-American production of Tennessee Williams' Pulitzer Prize-winning drama Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. And in 2008, for his work in film and television series, Jones was presented with the Screen Actors Guild for Life Achievement Award by Forrest Whitaker. Forrest Whitaker starred in another one of my favorite films, Ghost Dog. I don't know if you've seen that, O-Dog, or anyone in the chat. I highly recommend it. What year is that from? Early 2000s, I think. Ghost Dog. Ghost Dog, The Way of the Samurai, 1999. I need that movie on Blu-ray. 15 viewers in the chat. Welcome, friends. Let's see. 2010 to 2022, he returned to Broadway in final roles. Pretty much worked basically to his 90s. He returned in 2010 to Broadway for Driving in Miss Daisy along with Vanessa Redgrave. 2011, he did Driving Miss Daisy in London's West End. 2012, he played the role of the President Art Hochstetter in Gore Vidal's Best Man. Started 2013, worked with Vanessa Redgrave again in production of Much Ado About Nothing at the Old Vic in London. Yeah. In 2013 and 2014, he appeared alongside Malcolm McDowell in a series of commercials for Sprint in which the two dramatically recited mundane phone and text message conversations. That'd be funny. I don't remember that. In 2015, Jones starred as Chief Justice Caleb Thorne in the American drama series Agent X, alongside actress Sharon Stone, Jeff Hepner, and Jamie Sheridan. He made an appearance in Star Wars Rebels and Rogue One. Interesting. And he did a 3-word cameo in Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. In 2019, he reprised his voice of Mufasa in the CGI remake of The Lion King. I didn't know that was directed by Jon Favreau. And he reprised his role of King Jaffe Joffer in Coming to America from 2021, the sequel to Coming to America, and this was his final screen credit. In 2022, his voice was used via Respeecher. What's Respeecher? Respeecher is a Ukrainian software company developing speech synthesis software, enabling one person to speak in the voice of another person. Wow. Using artificial intelligence. For Darth Vader in the Disney miniseries Obi-Wan Kenobi. During production, Jones signed a deal with Lucasfilm authorizing archival recordings of his voice to be used in the future to artificially generate the voice of Darth Vader. In September 2022, Jones announced that he would retire from the role of voicing Darth Vader, with future voice roles for Vader being created by that means. There's someone new. David says, welcome in Felicia. Not seeing anyone. Okay, if there's someone named Felicia here, welcome, friend. Appreciate you being here. Happy Sunday. Marriages and illnesses. In 1968, Jones married actress and singer Julianne Marie, whom he had met while performing Othello to her Desdemona, married his co-star. In 1964, they had no children and divorced in 1972. In 1982, 10 years later, he married actress Cecilia Hart, who played Desdemona. He likes marrying his Desdemonas, to his Othello shortly after they wed, with whom they had a son, Flynn, and she died in 2016. In April 2016, Jones spoke publicly for the first time in nearly 20 years about his long-term health challenge with type 2 diabetes. He was diagnosed in the mid-1990s after his doctor noticed he had fallen asleep while exercising at a gym. Jones was Roman Catholic and having converted during his time in the military. Jones died at his home in Pawling, New York, on September 9th, 2024, at the age of 93. In a statement, CNN said that Jones was the voice of CNN and our brand for many decades, uniquely conveying through speech instant authority, grace, and decorum. That remarkable voice is just one of the many things the world will miss about James. Jones's alma mater, the University of Michigan, paid him tribute by posting a We Are Michigan video narrated by Jones on Xwitter. The NAACP, SAG-AFTRA, the Public Theater, and MLB also paid tribute to Jones. The Empire State Building in New York City was lit up to resemble Darth Vader. Former President Bill Clinton released a statement praising Jones as a brilliant actor who brought to life some of the most iconic characters ever. Actor Denzel Washington paid tribute to Jones, calling him his hero, adding, "I wasn't going to be as big as him. I wanted to sound like him. He was everything to me as a budding actor. He was who I wanted to be." Numerous members of the entertainment industry also paid tribute to Jones, including George Lucas, Mark Hamill, Kevin Costner, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Barry Jenkins, Spike Lee, Viola Davis, Whoopi Goldberg, Courtney B. Vance, and Alec Baldwin. Following his death, the New York Times described Jones's career as a prodigious body of work and called him one of America's most versatile actors on stage, film, and television. The Hollywood Reporter referred to Jones as one of the most admired actors of all time. I would have to agree. The Guardian film critic Peter Bradshaw wrote, like Sidney Poitier or Harry Belafonte or Paul Robeson, Jones was an African-American actor with a beautiful voice who was the key to his dignity and self-respect as a performer. It was how his character rose above racism and cruelty, and described Jones as movie royalty. Alec Baldwin called Jones one of the greatest actors in American history. Jones was recognized as a groundbreaker and pioneer for African Americans for his significant roles on stage and television. In 1965, Jones became one of the first African American actors in a continuing role on a daytime drama in As the World Turns. Academy Award-winning actress Viola Davis said that Jones's career reflected black excellence. Critic Clive Barnes said that Jones's theater roles were like a black avenging angel. Even when corrupted by misery, his presence has an almost moral force to it, as his voice rasps out in an agony nearly too personally painful in its nakedness. In 2022, the Court Theater was renamed after James Earl Jones, becoming the second Broadway venue named after a black theatrical artist, the first being the August Wilson Theater, named after the playwright August Wilson. The Court Theater was the same stage on which Jones made his Broadway debut in 1958. And I wanted to read you what Arnold said about James Earl Jones, because it was charming and humble. If I can find it, he said it on X-Twitter. And you'd think I would have it queued up for you, and I do not. Callum, I have finished The Witcher. I just wasn't doing well on Wednesdays. Here it is. Yeah, they met on Conan and the Barbarian, which was Arnold's first role. And I'm going to read this in his voice because it's funny, but it's true. It's very sensitive and charming, and humble. James Earl Jones was an icon. He will always live on with his legacy of playing some of the greatest characters of all time. But we all know about his tremendous acting ability, so I want to talk about his heart. When we filmed Conan, I was the new kid on the block, and he couldn't have been more welcoming. He was always willing to read lines with me in his trailer, and he always had the perfect acting advice. He was a fantastic mentor who taught me about the craft and about Hollywood. He didn't have to do that, and it shows you how big his heart was. I'll miss him, and I will never forget him. Papa One says, Super Antonio, what other games are you into at the moment? That is an excellent question, Papa One. I just saw a playthrough of Lollipop Chainsaw. What's that about? And let's see. My favorite games to play that I replay, because I don't know any new games that I am playing right now, but I'm still working on the Grand Theft Auto playthrough, and we will get back. We will get back to the playthrough on that. I'm going to do an Undead Nightmare playthrough for October. The Witcher 3. What else? 15 viewers in the chat. Welcome, friends. Witcher 3, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Ghost of Tsushima, there are two games that Serena introduced me to, which I'll always be grateful for to her for. They're technically girl games and teen games, but they're very charming. Life is Strange and Life is Strange Before the Storm. And I have not replayed those, but I would like to at some point because I like them. But they remind me of Serena. They're games designed for teen girls. But you essentially you play a teen girl, who's like in college, and she's got like a murder mystery that she has to solve along with her friends. Grand Theft Auto 5, Callum. We're doing a playthrough. It's not going well, regrettably. Papa One says, James Earl Jones was extremely talented, although when my son was a little boy, he drove me crazy with The Lion King. I got to where I hated that movie. I was so darn happy when the tape wore out. Callum says, you should play the Life is Strange 2 on stream. I really enjoy the Life is Strange games. I do as well, Callum. I did a playthrough on the second channel years ago. Odak says, Super Antonio, speaking of Rogue One, I know you're behind, but you've got to take time to watch Andor. You'll love the refined dialogue, the best of any in the Star Wars series. I did love Rogue One, and Odak promises you. Oh, there, Felicia Douglas has subscribed. Oh, thank you, David. Greetings, Felicia. We can redo that. There she is. Appreciate you, friend. Mama One, what's for dinner? And Callum says, yes, yeah, I answered that question. Maybe we'll try The Witcher again. You never know. But we keep trying the same things and getting the same results, which is not good. And of course, we are expecting different results, and you know what that means. Callum, yeah, it's a hard ending. Life is Strange. I have both of them on the second channel. But I do love that relationship between Chloe and Max. David says, Supa Toscana. Tuscan soup. I imagine that has pinto beans in it. I never played it, Callum. Serena played it. Life is Strange 3. Homemade, of course, David. Yes. Come back. Co-host is that. I wanted to tell a story. We found during our walk, we found a DoorDash, an abandoned DoorDash that was left by a tree, in front of an apartment building, and I thought she would just sniff it. So I allowed her to approach, and she did not sniff. She grabbed it by the handle and wanted to take it. I was like, put that down, drop it. No, you can't have that. Even though it had been abandoned, obviously. And it got me thinking about, because DoorDash is, or Uber Eats or whatever, meal delivery services are really popular in my neighborhood of Saint Denis. And I see a lot of high-end cars, Range Rovers, BMWs, Audis. I saw a Porsche once delivering DoorDash. And and it's always like a young gentleman. And I assume that they are using DoorDash to, to make the payment on this beautiful car they have just bought. Mama One says, dinner was a fresh cut meatloaf. I love meatloaf. We just had a cow slaughtered, so we have meat for 6 months. Then we had rice, brown gravy made with cow bone for a base, okra, cornbread, turnip greens, and I made my peanut butter cake. That sounds delicious, and I would really enjoy a peanut butter cake right now. So, and this to me is an example of just to me, it's like, to me, I think it's an example of what fatherless sons are doing with their lives. Because if you had a dad, he would he would tell you not to get this car. You can't afford this car. And two, if you do get this car, DoorDash is like the worst. It seems counterintuitive. You're using a second job where you drive the car to pay for the car, but it's like you have to deal with mileage, you have to deal with wear and tear on the car. Your insurance will probably go up. Statistically, you're probably going to get in an accident. You're driving the car 4 extra hours a day. In the city, it's like lots of intersections, lots of X factors, lots of pedestrians and cyclists and people who don't know how to drive. So you're doing all this extra work to pay for a car, to make payments on a car. And it's a weird cycle that I think if you had a father in your life or a father figure, O-Dog, David, you could talk them out of doing that. But, and also the wear and tear on your car. So, I don't know. It's just a thought that I had. Calm says, Sadie was feeling peckish for a DoorDash. Yeah, and it was like, I just didn't want her to take it. Some homeless person can grab it, But I assume, it's like, because I don't take her to the grocery store with me. I'd love to, but, it's like I leave the house and I come back with groceries. So I assume she thinks that's what I'm doing, just finding them on the street, picking up bags. So she found a bag. Why can't we take that bag? It's obviously food. Papa One says they have to deliver DoorDash to pay for the car, their insurance if they are young. I got my son an 88 Chevy truck and my 1976 Stingray Corvette when he was 16. The insurance on the truck was very cheap, but the Corvette insurance made Mama One have a mini stroke. Ha ha! I didn't care. I taught my son to drive, starting when he was 4. I would let him sit on my lap and steer. And then when he was 8, I let him drive around the farm. And I only have one kid, and I'm blessed to be able to spoil him. You are blessed indeed. And a 76 Stingray Corvette, that is a classic. I hope you still have that. I learned to drive on a Jeep Cherokee, and I still miss that Jeep. I'm very sentimental about Jeeps, and especially the Cherokee. Anytime I see one, I'm like, and the Rubicons. I'm very happy about that. Yeah, it's like in the insurance. So you're making payments. Take a second job to make payments on your car when you could easily just buy a Toyota, just buy something cheap. I don't know. I mean, they want the status of a high-end car, and I can understand that. But you can't use it to pay for. You can't use the car to pay for. To pay for the car. That doesn't make sense. Mom one says, we have a lot of land. For the record, he never drove in the street till he was 14. Yeah, I assumed, Mama one. Callum says, I got a new dog. Also not sure if I mentioned. She's called Bonnie, and she's quite the funny but cute dog and has the zoomies, especially after a bath. LOL. Yeah. Those are precious times when you with a new dog. Bonnie's a cute name, Callum. Congratulations. She should help with your depression. She should help a lot. Papa One says, my son has it. I will admit he was homeschooled mostly as we traveled for work, but mainly high school girls in his time loved his vet. I'm sure they did. Many high school jocks hated my son as soon as he would roll up. Odak says, Papa One, I've still got my 1975 Chevrolet Monte Carlo, and I just found a 71 or 72 Buick Riviera boat tail that I'm wanting. Papa One said, roll up to school in a cowboy hat, western wear, a knife on his hip, and cowboy boots with spurs. Any pretty cheerleader would jump in the vet. Many guys were jealous. I'm jealous. David says, 65 Pontiac Catalina convertible was mine. Let's look that up because I don't know what that is. Oh, that's nice. That is a boat. How much are they going for these days? Fully restored, $109,970. But here's one for $26,500. Here's one for maybe as a project, David, you can get one and restore it if you've got the garage space. Calum says, yeah, the pup's been helping a lot, but she needs toilet training fast as she likes to pee a lot. Yeah, she's probably nervous. Yeah, that's, it's like, I would say Sadie, when I got her, was 3/4 trained. She would still have accidents, but, we figured it out. You just have to watch your body language. I don't know if you've had dogs before, Callum, and you can watch a lot of YouTube videos. Papa One says, wow, O-Dog, I have my dad's old truck, which is a 55 Ford. I do like those classic old Ford trucks. We have a 1966 red Mustang hardtop, and my son has a 1970 red Dodge Challenger. Wow. Mama One and I also have a Ford F-250 work truck and a Toyota. Eight viewers in the chat. Appreciate you hanging out. Friends, happy Sunday to you. Callum says, yeah, she's sometimes unpredictable when she pees. You always think she's sitting down until she moves, and you see a pre-spot left on the mat whilst running away. Yeah, Callum, I think you have to learn her body language. And it helps just to bring her outside immediately, even after she's done it. Just so she can associate outside or the door with needing to pee. And also, I think it might just be nervousness from being in a new home and not knowing you as well. Odog says, nothing like the classics, Papa One. Odog, you're a classic. You can have all these digital dashes and electric cars. Yeah, I hate modern cars. Papa One says, Toyota Tundra. My son loves to rebuild classics and sell them as a side gig. That is an excellent side gig. And so much more. It just makes more sense than door dashing with your high-end car. And that's Callum when I was talking about knowledge, selling your knowledge. This is what Papa One's son's doing. He has mechanical knowledge so he can rebuild classics and sell them as a side gig. So yeah, Callum, you know something right now. You know something that you can use to turn into a side gig. But what that something is, I cannot tell you. But it's right in front of you. But his main driver, Papa One continues, is the 1970 Challenger. But he has built and sold a 1968 Volkswagen, a 65 Ford Falcon, and he's currently rebuilding a 1988 Delta 88 Oldsmobile. One of the perks of being a cigar sales rep is he meets a lot of old men who have classic cars, and they will take care of him or sell them cheap. Papa One says, I will never go electric. If it ain't killing the environment, I don't want it. Callum says, my mom got unlucky once with the dog. It peed on her back while she was sat on the couch and gave me quite a laugh, to say the least. Yeah, that sounds like nerves, Callum. Yeah, the whole thing, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about climate change and electric cars. Or rather, I will say two things. South America and China aren't doing anything about climate change, and they contribute way more than the United States to the statistics. Mom One says, my son's girlfriend sold him his 1975 Mercury Marquis Coupe for $800. He is rebuilding it. It is the same model of car that was in Uncle Buck. Callum says, what's your dream car, Antonio? Let's see, Jaguar XKE. You probably know that. The vintage Jag. The Aston Martin DBE. British cars. What's that about? That's James Bond's Aston Martin from Goldfinger. And then Morgan Motor Company makes like modern cars that look like cars from the 40s. They look like cars from the 30s. They make really beautiful Art Deco cars. Everyone Google Morgan classic car, and that's probably my dream car. And you can get a modern version, the Morgan Plus 8. Let's look at that. How much are those going for? You can get a modern. It's like they look like they're from the 30s, but they've got like a BMW 2.0 liter engine, 6-speed manual. Oh, they're gorgeous. How much are those? The Morgan 3 is only $47,000. Morgan 4 is $25,000. Very affordable, and they're gorgeous. Mom One says, I can see Super Antonio in the James Bond car with Sadie buckled up wearing sunglasses. Yeah, we'll put her in goggles, Mama One. She'd like that. She has been in cars before. It's like my dad liked Mercedes, and when I was living at his house, I would take Sadie for drives in his Mercedes. David says, 67 Roadrunner, the Joe Dirt car. Okay, get one of those and then restore it. David, that'd be a good project for you. Papa One says, I would cancel to be able to get a 1945 Cadillac. My dad brought one for $1,200 in 1946. He loved it, but he sold it to start his horse farm. He made a successful business, but all he wanted to get a new one. He just never found the time. Mama One says, do you own a car? I do not at this time, Mama One. I don't really need one. I can walk anywhere or just take an Uber. Cloudy says, Super Antonio wants the Mr. Burns car. Yes, I do. Release the hounds. Yeah, those are beautiful cars. But it's like a Batman the Animated Series car. Callum says, my dream car is a Honda Civic Type R 1997. That sounds like a racer, Callum. At any rate, friends, that's about all I have for you tonight. Hup, come here. Come up here and say goodbye to everyone. Really appreciate all you being here. Shout out to the mods, O-Dog, Papa One, Mom One, David, and Chrissy, of course. Miko, if you're still here. And Serena. I've really got to email her. Great talking to you, Cloudy. Callum, so happy that you're here. you get some sleep, friend, and enjoy your new pup. Thank you, friends. Thank you, Felicia Douglas, for subscribing. Appreciate